Ladies and gentlemen, now with two movies under his belt, I'm beginning to wonder if possibly all that negative reaction to James Gunn jumping ship from Marvel and going over to the DC Universe, I wonder if that was all just a knee-jerk reaction to something that never materialized. Cinematic class is about to begin. Our professor is in. Greetings, salutations, another Sunday. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies, and I've got to tell you the truth of the matter is that I've now seen two James Gunn movies, and I've enjoyed both of them immensely. I saw his swan song, if you will, with the Marvel Universe and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Volume 3. I like that. You can check my review, posted a little bit earlier on this very page. And now I've seen The Flash. The Flash is interesting. Technically, it's Gunn's first opus, if you will, for the DCU. He approved it. All the little final changes happened under his, and though his name doesn't appear anywhere on the credits, it's under his watch, and ultimately, I guess he's responsible for it. This movie, God, had an awful lot of problems. I mean, they started shooting this thing literally back in 2016, and there were an awful lot. It was a revolving door as far as directors were concerned. It was also a revolving door as far as writers were concerned. And it was a seesaw back and forth as to how this movie would be approached. Basically, one side wanted it to be kind of a comic book type movie that would appeal to a younger generation. And the other side wanted it to be a rather mature and adult fare. Well, at least as adult as superheroes could be. You know, DC was probably the more serious of the comics superhero movies. That's probably why I lean toward them more. They seem to have more of a seriousness to them. The exception, of course, being the Flash, the character of the Flash, who was always in there as kind of comic relief.
Tell me something. You can go anywhere. Another timeline. Another universe. So why do you want to stay and fight to save this one?
Because this is the world where my mom lives. I'm not gonna lose her again. Time has a pattern that it can't help reliving. Different people, different worlds, drawn to each other like magnets. It's my face. You stole my face.
If you were to go into the past, you have no idea what the consequences can be.
Bruce, I could fix things.
You could also destroy everything.
This can't be happening. I completely broke the universe. Zod.
We've been waiting for you.
I created a world with no metahumans. And now there's no one to defend us.
Want some help?
Oh. You are?
Yeah. I'm Batman.
undo what I did. If I can't get back, there might not be a future.
You know, one of the first things that James Gunn did was okay The Flash and okay Ezra Miller returning as Barry Allen in The Flash. Boy, this guy had an awful lot of problems, didn't he? I mean, first he came out and announced that he was queer, and apparently was a very aggressive and sometimes violent homosexual. So it wasn't bad enough that he comes out of the closet, but he's coming out of the closet with a mace. So that's not necessarily good. Then there were charges of pedophilia and kidnapping, and those legal issues have not dissipated. So everyone's still waiting around to see what happens with that. It was kind of unique, I think, for James Gunn to come up and decide to defend the star of the movie and keep him. Will Ezra Miller continue to be the Flash in the DCU? I gotta think if he's not wearing pinstripes, yeah, probably he'll be around for a while. Is it good that we have this rather notorious actor playing this role? I don't know. I reserve judgment on that. If we barred all the different stars that had, shall we say, questionable mores, we'd probably lose a good 75% of Hollywood right off the bat. As far as this movie is concerned, Miller does a nice job. He actually has to play two. Well, technically, I guess it's not two roles because he's playing Barry Allen, but he's playing him in two different time zones, so it's like two different characters. And he actually does a nice job putting this together.
Oh my God! Flash!
Hi.
I love you!
Thank you.
Passing you into Mr. Wayne.
No, please don't.
I need you here now, Barry.
You could travel back in time.
But Bruce, I can fix things. I could save people. I could save my mom. I could save your parents.
You can also destroy everything.
Love you, Mom.
I love you too.
So how was it this week? How's school?
School was good. Oh, this is mad trippy. Dude, this is catastrophic.
This world must die.
I'm not gonna lose her again. It's not Clark.
My name is Kara. I will help you.
Interesting group.
Want some help? Wait, he's Batman?
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Oh, this rips! We're in uncharted territory. Batman, what do we do?
We try not to die.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're not revealing any big secrets when I tell you that there's more than one Batman in this movie, okay? And I'm going to go out right now and say it, and, I can see the emails and the text coming already, but bottom line is, the best Batman scene in this entire movie is the Ben Affleck Batman scene. Sorry, but it is. And this goes to prove what I've been saying all along, that when you put all of the Batmen together, let's take out Adam West because that was TV and not movies. Ben Affleck is the best Batman. Period. So while we're talking about Batman, let's mention Michael Keaton, who comes back to reprise his role as the Caped Crusader. Couple of things. First off, while Ben Affleck may be the best Batman, Michael Keaton had and has the best Batman costume. He does. And I've always said that that costume was great because you could literally stick anybody in that costume and still think that it was Michael Keaton. And this movie proves that because Michael Keaton is old. In the close-ups, especially when he's in the Batwing, he looks very old. They could have done him some good, and like airbrush it. They didn't. All right. And there's no way in hell that Michael Keaton is moving the way Batman does in this thing. I'll prove to you. You could stick anybody in that Batman costume and they would look good. See? Told you. Back in the day. All right. So it's obvious that there's a stuntman in this costume for probably 90% of the time. And there's even one scene where Batman is fighting the big guy from Zod's army. It's CGI. There's not even a stuntman in the costume. It's just plain CGI, and it's apparent that it's a CGI. Is it nice to see Michael Keaton back as Batman? Sure, why not? He gets to play his really one true role, which he's been dying to do for God knows how long, and he gets to say some of the lines that are famous from his first couple of movies. So you get that kind of nostalgia feel to it, and I guess that'll make a lot of the older people feel good about that. They get to see that type of thing. But bottom line, this is definitely the swan song. So let's go back again to the concept of the comic book movie and whether it should be played, kind of for kids and a little bit younger generation, or whether it should be more serious. Now, having said that, okay, this movie, The Flash, is played for laughs. It is a cute movie. At no time do you feel any sense of dread, especially from the bad guys. And we know Zod's a nasty character. In Man of Steel, there was a little bit of concern when Zod came to Earth. Not so much in this one, because everybody's kind of clowning around him, and the whole thing is filled with chuckles and little tips of the hat and homages back to previous events, and as such, nothing is ever really taken very seriously. I think this is okay with superhero movies because I don't think anybody should take a superhero movie all that seriously in the first place. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to run into Ron Friends, who has been on the show a couple of times and is comic book artist extraordinary. His work is just absolutely amazing. And we were talking about superhero movies, and he does not like when the movies got, for example, he drew Thor for many, many years, and then Thunderstrike and the Thor Corps and all that stuff. So as a result, when the movies came out, he really liked the first two and then didn't like the ones that came afterwards because they weren't serious. They were kind of goofy and played for laughs, and he didn't appreciate that. Interesting, because I have the exact opposite view. I thought the first two, especially that second one, was just god-awful. And then once they got rather light with Ragnarok, and that was easier to deal with. That's just so ridiculous. So it was good to. This movie is that way too. Okay, I'm not sure how this is going to tie into the DCU. I don't know if this is going to be, that the Flash, being the comic relief of the Justice League, is going to be the funny and the cute movies, and maybe the other ones will be a little more serious. Don't know what James Gunn has in store for that, but for this one anyway, it fits pretty well. Speaking of fitting, perhaps now it would be good to peel back the veils of time. Back to the early Cretaceous period, where the nation's first and only prehistoric film critic, Rex Greer.
Its cultural manipulations.
All right, let's go a little bit behind the camera now, shall we? The director on this movie is Andres Muschietti. He was the guy that finally got tagged down, if you will, with putting this all together. He doesn't do a bad job. The thing that really surprised me is the writer. They picked Christina Hodson to write the script for this, and previously she had worked on Birds of Prey. That was a complete disaster. Not only a box office disaster, but it was a disaster of a movie. It didn't fit into any universe. It was just horrible all the way around. And why they finally selected her. Now, there were 3 people who put the story together, and she wrote the final script. So how they found that diamond, she can handle this after Birds of Prey is beyond me. But she did a pretty nice job on this. The casting with all the different characters coming back is all swell and good. The one I really question is Sasha Calle. She is playing Supergirl. And, there's not any woke propaganda that I saw in the movie. There's nothing there that is culturally controversial at all. But they picked this actress who portrays Supergirl in a very much of a butch style fashion. She's constantly scowling, and wow. Now I understand her character has just been given freedom, that she was under an oppressive Russian regime. So yeah, I understand all of that. And it might take a little while to adapt, shall we say. But her transformation, to go from, Zod's okay, to, okay, I got to fight Zod, it happens very quickly. So the fact that this other transformation is taking too long is, no, she's just really not someone you want as a superhero. And if she does not come back as Supergirl, that would be fine for me, because frankly, in this whole movie, she's nothing but a bitch. Okay, so one thing I will tell you about this movie is that I am very tired of this multiverse concept. It's been in way too many movies already. I don't care to ever see it again. And that would be fine with me. Okay. So let's sum up The Flash. Well, if you remember the very last Spider-Man movie, none of that cartoon nonsense. They tried to do the same thing in here, bringing a lot of different characters and actors who played the role, working them into the script, bringing back the various villains, working them into the script, so that we have this big, giant, hey, we're all one big happy family, and let's have a little walk down nostalgia road. Oh, okay, it's nice and cute. Can we make a franchise out of it? No, please don't bother, okay? A one-time shot is good. And don't forget that with Spider-Man, the reason for that was because the deal between Disney and Sony was over. So that movie cemented the deal, put together the MCUs, the 2 different MCUs that were existing. And now that is over. Disney is well on its way, and it can no longer touch Spider-Man. And Sony still owns Spider-Man and his, Venom and Carnage and stuff. And they're going to take theirs in their own direction, which Sony did a better job of doing that anyway. So that should be interesting. Now, with The Flash, no such agreement had to be there, but we do have James Gunn. And now every movie in the DCU coming out will not have someone else's fingerprints on it. The movies coming out now will all be under the Gunn regime. Could be interesting. How was this one? It was a blast. I laughed my butt off and had a good time with it. If you want to see it, and if you can see it on the big screen, and now, if you have a little bit of a here in